Hi guys, I hope you're well. We're going to be working on a glutes series here to challenge those muscles around the hip. This is indicated for everyone, but particularly those who may have pain on the outside of the hip, pain on the outside of the knee, those of us that maybe run or do a lot of walking for fitness. But as I say, it's important for all of us. Couple of options throughout the sequence, so do what feels right for you, but do challenge yourself and don't forget to work both sides. Let's begin. Okay, so we're going to start in side lying. We'll all start together. So when we stack up in side lying, you've got your feet, hips and spine all in line, and it's really important to stack the hips on top of one another. So we're going to push the top hip down to create that little space between the floor and the waist. And then just make sure the tailbone's tucked underneath so that the spine is long and the rib cage isn't flaring forwards. You've got your cup of tea resting on your top hip. You're keeping your feet gently pressed together and you're floating your top knee up without rolling that hip backwards. So no spillages of tea behind you. Get someone near to you to check to see what you're doing, or if you're feeling really steady, why not test it? But I wouldn't say with a cup of hot tea, maybe a glass of cold water. Okay, now's the time we can start to set the centre, so by gently drawing tummy towards the spine or working through the pelvic floor, whatever works best for you. Keep it going, you should start to feel a little bit of a warm glow on the outside of the hip now. Let's do 4 more. So breath out to float up and in to lower down. We've got 3 more. Now you could just leave it here this evening, or we can come into a little bit of a pulse from here. So we're going to float up into that end position. Check you've not lost that little space between the floor and the waist. Gentle pressure with your fingertips on the floor, and then we're just going to pulse into that end range of movement. So imagine there's a little bell on the outside of the top of your knee, and you're just pressing your knee on and off that bell. That should start to feel the intensity crank up a notch. Oh, I'm feeling that. I've done Joe Wick's PE session with Rafe today, so my legs are feeling a little bit sore, but it's all good. Let's keep going. Pulse, pulse, pulse. Still working to gently draw my tummy towards my spine. Okay, we're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So you could lower the knees back down together now. Pause and then join back in when you're ready. We're going to add a leg stretch here. So we're lengthening to the corner of the room, really stretch through the legs so you've got that nice long waist, and we're touching down and we're going straight back up. You'll have to excuse me, I've got a really itchy nose. Oh, that's better. So you should really see that stability around my hips and pelvis, and that movement is just coming from a little bend through the knee. Good, let's go for 4, 3, 2 and 1. Lengthen and hold. Hold. Keep holding as long as you can with that leg. Imagine that there's a magnet attached to the bottom of your foot and it's just pulling you to the corner of the room. So you're really stretching through the hold of that leg. Feel that tension build up. Keep holding, keep holding. We're here for 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1. Bend the knee, feet together, lower the knee, touch down and give that hip a little bit of a pat. Okay, you can leave it at that, guys, if you feel like that's enough for you. Or we're going to come into some side leg lifts. So you can do this with the bottom leg bent, or for a bit more of a stability challenge, you can stretch both legs out. So to start with, we're just going to float that top leg up to hip height. You notice I'm keeping a nice long waist. I've got a little marshmallow resting underneath my waist and I'm not squashing it down. If you're using your hips to hinge, what will happen is you'll squash down as the leg lifts up, and you'll feel that movement more so through the lower back, and it can get a little bit sore through the back, so we're getting pinching in the back. So this is our first level. Again, you could do this with the leg bent. Oh, my glutes are burning now. Okay, so you can stay here or you can come into a lift and lower. So we float the leg up, the bottom leg comes up, and then we slowly lower down. Top leg up, bottom leg up, slowly lower down. And really working again, as I say, to not push into that marshmallow as you lower down. If that's too much, just work with that leg lift, that top leg lift. Okay, we've got 3 more. slower you go, the harder you're going to work. Okay, take that top leg to hip height and we're sliding it along our coffee table. Pointed toe to come forwards, flexed heel to come back. Ooh, feeling it now. Ooh, and lower down, give that top of a pat. Okay, let's see if we can go again. So floating up. My shoulders have a tendency to hunch up when I'm working hard. I've got to slide those shoulder blades down to the waist. Still thinking about that top half of the body and coming down. You don't need these rest, guys, unless you're struggling like I am. Okay, you can stay with that side kick, or you can come to both legs lifted, lengthen through the waist, and as one leg goes forwards, the other leg goes back. So we're scissoring. Oh, feel the burn. 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and final one. And lower down and drag that top leg over the bottom. Okay, this should be on fire now. So again, this could be a point that you want to tap out and just build up as you feel able to do so. But for those of you that want to, we're going to add in a little bit of core kind of waist work alongside that hip work. And to do that, we're going to come out of our sideline position and we're going to push up into our forearm prop. So now we've got to focus a little bit more so on what's going up in the top half. So we're going to push the rib cage and lift away from the mat. And as I do that, you'll notice that length that's created between my shoulder and my neck. I'm just going to make sure I've got that nice long neck with a gentle press of the chin towards the chest. Okay, now what I'm going to feel here is actually my bottom hip working a little bit more. So I'm sliding the shoulder blades down, really creating that nice set through the shoulders as I float up. And I'm arching through the sides. This is where this move comes in. It's the side bend move. And I'm really pushing through that bottom hip. I'm going to reach my hand up towards the ceiling and I'm going to just do little pulses there. So I'm really imagining a piece of string pulling me up towards the ceiling. I'm squeezing my bottom as I lift, really feeling that under hip working. Should give that top hip a little bit of respite from here. But now we're going to get it to work a little bit harder again. So we're adding our clam back in and a dip and a clam. Whoo! Dip and a clam. Dip and a clam. Let's do 3 more. Dip, it's the magic number. Dip, clam. Care to not roll back as you come into that clam. I think that's 1 more. And a clam. And then slowly down. I'm going to come straight onto our backs from here to come into a shoulder bridge sequence. Okay, let's focus back on that right hip. You'll notice I've not gone back onto my head blocks. I want to lay nice and flat on the mat. I'm going to come up into my bridge. So gently press the small of my spine into the mat. Peel away and lift up. Now you'll notice I want to sit back on my shoulders. So I've got to work to push away from my shoulders. You'll feel those glutes engage a little bit more and those hammies, and smooth down. So this is your level 1, guys. But if you stayed with me right up until here, I know we can push it a little bit harder. So as I say, we're still focusing on that first hip that we were working. So I'm going to take my left leg out of the equation, floating that left leg into tabletop position, and now I'm going to push back up into my bridge again, glancing down at my hips, making sure my pelvis is level. I've got a spirit level resting across the bones of my pelvis, and I don't want them to rock to one side. So it's all about that stability around the pelvis as you drive through the glutes, and really use that idea of driving up so that your hips are really engaging to push you into the end of that position. Should feel like a good challenge. Get the heart rate working a little bit more. We've got 4 more, and of course a nice little surprise at the end. 2, still working to kind of peel through the spine. Okay, we're going to hold this one, lifted,
Make sure the rib cage isn't flaring up as well, so just tucking that rib cage down, and then again, a little pulse. Okay, I'm regretting the pulse now. Really pushing my heel into the mat, it's going to engage those glutes. Okay, I think this is going to finish me off, guys. You may not see me for a few months after today. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Smooth down. Hug your knees towards your chest. Now I'm going to leave it at that, guys, but don't forget you've got another side to do. So set back up with your glute bridge, or you can go back to the other side. Start the video again, and good luck. Stay well, stay safe, stay home, and I'll see you for another video, hopefully soon. Let's see if I can walk.